What's up, Trekkies? Hi, okay. So, this video is going to be in a couple parts. One, we're going to talk about console, because guess what? They both have the exact same thing going on right now as PC. Okay, PC has a key sale going on, and I spaced and already forgot what's happening on console. Console has R&D packs. As of yesterday, let's see, is this only for yesterday? Yeah, scratch that idea. They have no news as of right now for either one of them. Other thing is a ship sale, but that was probably only for the weekend. Upgrade weekend, again, was last weekend. There isn't anything right now, and I've refreshed this thing multiple times. It's almost 10 o'clock. So for PC, we have Beyond the Nexus Week 3 rewards, which gives out the Trilithium Enhanced Phaser Turret, or the Trilithium Enhanced Omnidirectional Phaser Beam Array. Basically, the phaser turret is just something to activate with like cannon rapid fire or anything like that. So if you use a lot more like dual heavy cannons in the front, you know, you're going to want to have the turret and put that in the back. Most people know this by now, but just in case you're new and don't realize that one. Like I said, if you use Rapid Fire 1, or Rapid Fire 2, Rapid Fire 3 and like spread, then you're going to want to pick up the turret. If you use beams, like a lot of people do, science vessels, cruisers, yada yada, you're probably going to want to have the Omni Beam Array. I don't have any extra weapon slots. Otherwise, I'd pick it up. Everything's taken up by sets, and I really want to use all of those sets, so I'm still going to pick it up, and I'm still going to have it, just in case. But right now I'm kind of working on that. If for some reason I get a better ship with like a fourth weapon slot in the front, then sure. But actually the Anorax has one in the front. Anyways, getting off track here. So as we talked about last week, and we'll say again this week, now you get the 3-piece, which is Reinforced Engineering, and that increases your starship structural integrity skill by a flat amount and all damage resistance rating. That's it. That's what the console bonus does. And then we have announcements of a space queue and a ground queue for the new stuff coming out mere weeks. I already forgot what day. Before we get into that one, the Privateer lockbox is being added to the Infinity lockbox, which I think is dropping right now. I logged on yesterday to do my 25,000 Tetrion damage, which I don't have anything that does Tetrion damage except for Widow Fighters. They count. So I just put in Widow Fighters and went to like the Zenkethi battle zone and just had them like all over the place. I got 25,000 in no time. So that was fun. But yeah, the Infinity lockbox now will involve all the stuff you've seen from the Privateer lockbox, which is like the Miradorn Raider, the Defense Drone Cloud, the Starship trait packs of Punch It, Pilfered Power, Parting Gift, Genetic Resequencer, Personal Trait Packs, Spring in My Step, Privateer's Luck, all that jazz. Universal Kit Modules, Holographic Deceiver, Stabilized Subspace Inverter, and Echo Papa 607 drone system. Now we have the ground queue, which I like the concept of this ground queue. The 2 ground queues that came with the Starbase were boring. Like the colony invasion was fun for like 2 months. But it's literally they spawn at the same location, and whether it's, you know, and if it's Borg and your people are like, I've never fought Borg in a long time, I don't have anything. So you have like no weapons and everyone's running up and like punching because they're doing 1 damage with their weapons because they don't, they don't do that. Anyways, I don't really do colony invasion anymore because I don't really need fleet marks, but hopefully, you know. And then the other one was like inside the starbase, and it was like, whatever, I don't need to turn on my flashlight, I'm just going to turn my gamma all the way up. And I just modify my settings, and in gamma I can see everything anyways. It lost the immersion. Plus with the new lighting effects, they kind of tweaked with that too. It was like, I don't need my flashlight. So that one kind of worked. Plus people would like get lost and they die and whatever. Nobody really worked together on that one. They were good in concept, they're bad implemented sort of thing. As goes gaming a lot. Ground queue, the embassy, I want to say the embassy because it makes me think of the embassy, but the colony is under attack by Zenkethi. And you basically have to stop them, stop the forces, and drive them out of the colony. We believe it'll take 2 ground teams to defend the main facilities until Captain LaForge gets the main shields back online. Once the colony shields are back up, it will limit the damage that Zenkethi can do. However, stay on your toes out there, as we don't know what tricks the enemies have up their sleeves. It makes me think it'll come in waves from like 2 different sides, because it's a 10-player queue, which is good for ground. The more people you have on ground, the easier and more fun things get. If you only got 5 people and like 2 of them decide to like, anybody who knows Sompek does this. If you got 2 people that are like not engaged, you can ruin a whole instance. Whereas with 10, if you have 2 or 3 that aren't engaged, you still have at least 5 or 6 people that kind of have an idea what they're doing. So it's Dranuur Beach Assault is the first 10-player cooperative ground defense queue. Participating it will reward fleet or Lucari marks. The queue is available to all captains 50 and above. So you basically, and that's why I think it'll come in waves, so you're not like walking the same path around for a colony invasion. Like, you could predict where they were going to spawn every time. And if you're an engineer, bonus, you could always set up your turrets right beforehand while everybody kills the previous group. And then the things beam in and you just... I mean, it was fun. Great for an engineer if you know how to pre-set up your stuff. Like the hurricane generator. If you had that thing, put it down, things beam in, and they're just being torched. Not really being torched. You're not a science officer with your fire on the ground. With magma bolts that launch on. Anyways. But like I said, this one will probably... It sounds like it's going to be waves, so you're going to have to run back and forth. Kind of like the beginning of the one with the Gorn and the Romulans. Kind of... The North Gate's under attack. The West Gate's under attack. The North Gate's under attack. That sounds more similar to that one. What I'm hoping for is, it doesn't say here, is if like certain... people will be able to do stuff, like an engineer might be able to help every so often with something, like get the shields back online. Probably not, because then if you have all engineers, then you can kind of break the whole thing and you can pre-queue, but who knows, they might have something. It's usually better for standalone missions to have stuff like that, and they kind of done away with that, and I'm not really know why. Maybe I just haven't really been noticing it. Now moving on to the space queue. This is called the Dranuur Gauntlet. The joint Kintari-Lucari colony in the Dranuur system is under attack. Okay. The Alliance has called upon ships within the sector to warp to the colony and render assistance in the face of aggression. That's where you come in. So, this inherently is supposed to take place before the ground queue. Because it says, after their failed assault on the colony, the Zenkethi are amassing for a ground assault on Dranuur. So, that's the ground one, but it sounds like, it takes place after the space one. Keep the planetary defenses intact while the ground crews work to replicate important tactical systems they require. Once those are ready, you'll be able to fully activate the defense satellites to aid you in the defense. So, like I said, you could probably, more with the space... because they do that with the queue of the mirror invasion, where the science officers can close the portals faster, and the engineering can activate the satellites faster. Maybe because this one is like building defenses that whatnot. You get stuff like that, so it's like everyone can do something all the time, so, but it's not like a massive hindrance if you don't have like a science officer on point. You can still close the gates, just not nearly as fast. Anyways. Oh, and you can also get uniforms of Star Trek Discovery. Are these a limited time? Until next Friday. The 6th, 10 a.m. So pretty much until next Thursday. That's pretty cool. So that segues into talking about Discovery. This is Trek Tuesday. Completely understand. It's Star Trek Online, but as Star Trek Discovery takes place in the Prime Universe, and Star Trek Online takes place in the Prime Universe, we're going to kind of talk about it. Because they're offering, like I said, they're offering you to buy the uniforms of the series. So, that's cool. And they'll probably they'll probably bring them out later as a promotion thing when Season 2 comes out, or if they're even popular. I don't know. So, what I'm going to talk about is how Star Trek Discovery fits into the general timeline. I'm not going to go over a review of the show, as this is mostly Star Trek Online. But, so, Enterprise happens. we have our Warp 5 thing, we get up there, we do the Vulcans, we have all the Xindi stuff going on and the Temporal Cold War, and that stuff's already in Star Trek Online. And then like 100, and you've got the stuff that happened with the Klingons and the genetic manipulation, and they started losing their cranial ridges. Then like 100-ish years later, you have Discovery that takes place, and the Klingons, there are Klingons that still have their cranial ridges, but they've also kind of lost some hair. There's some stuff going on in there. They've like outcast themselves, and the houses are at war because they're losing their cranial ridges, and these are like the only pure Klingons really left. And I haven't seen much of the series, but apparently they'll explain it all. If you've watched Enterprise, you know why. And then 10 years later, like in Discovery, Spock and Kirk are currently in school. So you gotta realize that they could come across, like I said, I haven't seen much of the series, but it's possible that, like, you know, if the series continues, they may hear about the Kobayashi Maru. Whatnot. I mean, it's 10 years, so you'd have to get up to like season 9 in order to even have that happen. But we're running with this one. It's really close to the original series. And then 10 years later, Kirk's mission with that, all that happens. So we're having with that. So that's where Discovery falls in on the Prime timeline. It's 10 years before the original series. And for those of you that were angry in Enterprise that we didn't have a war with the Klingons when we first met them, we technically had a break of like 100 years, and now it seems to be a Klingon war that we're starting with. But it's different Klingons. I've only watched the first episode that was on television. So that's that. We will chat later next week, probably about more Dranuur colony stuff. If they bring up more information, I'll catch you guys next week. Bye.